And welcome to Computer Tech and More. Today I'm going to talk about best laptops for each type of category. First and foremost, processor types. So for the Intel, I wouldn't go below in the U series, the 1260 to 1230Us. They have 2 P cores. I wouldn't go to 1 P core. And then there are enhanced versions that end in 5 that have a better GPU. If possible, I'd get the better GPU just for video processing and any and all gaming that you may or may not want to do. Next, you have the P-type cores. I wouldn't go below a 1260p. It's got 4 P cores, 8 E cores. This is for more like light performance. And I like the 1280p the best in this category. Last and certainly not least are the H series Intel processors. And here I wouldn't go below a 12500H, with the 12800H being the high performance option of choice with 6 P cores. Next, looking at AMD, we have the 5000 series, which are still kind of relevant. You still see them in the market. So this would be for the upcoming school and buying seasons, where you've got the 5.8 and 5.7 Us with 8 cores, the 5.6 at 6, and 5.5 at 6 cores. And if you're really on a tight budget, then that's when you would be looking at this 5.3. So my personal preference would be the 8-core processors, even in the U series here. And then your high performance options here at the top, the HX and HS with just different wattages there. And basically any of those would be kind of what you're looking at getting and wanting for your next laptop. And then with the new 6000 series, again, I just put the red box, found my opinion as to what I'd aim for. In the U series, I get the 68 or 66, which is the Zen 3 Plus architecture with RDNA 2. I'd completely ignore anything that's Vega. I would not get a Vega processor at this point with GPU. So looking at that with the H series, the same sort of deal, where you would get any and all of them. All right, we're going to move on to the next group. All right, GPUs by category. For non-gamers or very old simple games, AMD Vega integrated, Intel Ultra HD, Intel Xe G5 and below class graphics cards or integrated graphics cards. Gaming ultra low, the Radeon 660M. This is integrated, but it uses the new RDNA 2 and Intel Xe G7. For gaming low, I'd say the NVIDIA MX 570, MX 550, GTX 1650 Ti variants, the RX 6300M, the Radeon 680M. This is again an integrated one using RDNA 2. That's in some of the mobile CPUs. Intel Arc A350M, the 370M, and A55M. For gaming medium, RTX 3070 Ti variant, RTX 3050 Ti variant, GTX 1660 and Ti, the RX 6600M, RX 6500M, 6700S, 6600S, and the ARC 730M. For gaming on high graphics, you want the RTX 3070, again Ti variants, 3080 Ti variants, and for Team AMD, the RX 6800M, 6850M, the RX 6700M, RX 6000X, and the ARC 770, the last one being from Intel. So I like to put together a spreadsheet where I compare a bunch of laptops. So these are ones that I was looking at last time I was really shopping for a laptop. The price point of each one, what kind of style it was, resolution, kind of the applicable information you can see on here, hard drive size, and then I apply a weighting factor to it, and I determine its final score over here, adding up the different weights, and that way I can sort of look at the laptops out on the market and justify how much I like it or don't like it. And I set a GPU benchmark if that's applicable to what I like, as well as like a battery life and a CPU score. All right, if you're on a super tight budget, less than $800, a Chromebook might be what you're after, or you may want to look at the used laptop market. You'll be making major concessions at this price point. The CPU will be significantly slower for new laptops at these prices, so used, you'd get a better laptop. For used, I wouldn't look anything older than Intel 8th Gen or AMD Ryzen 4000 series, and this is for future Windows 11 compatibility. If you want to game at all, you want to look for a dedicated GPU, and I'd recommend for an NVIDIA, a GTX/RTX, whatever series, 5 or higher, and that's just because below that you tend to not get very good gaming performance. This excludes like the MX series. You can also shop for new computers from major retailers like Best Buy, Amazon, Newegg, that are open box. So cheap laptops that are under 800, you want 8 gigs of RAM, the largest SSD you can find at that price. You want at least 256 gigabytes. Intel i3, i5, U or P series, AMD Ryzen 4 or 6 core. Sacrifices at this price point, you're going to be sacrificing a lot on build quality, thermals, battery life, screen quality, colors, black level brightness. You're going to be looking at Gen 1 USB 3. You're probably not going to have Gen 2, and you're definitely not going to have Thunderbolt in most laptops. It'll likely be disabled. There's not going to be dedicated GPUs unless you're looking at the used market. You might not have to sacrifice all these, but expect at least 2 or some kind of blend where build quality might be acceptable but not exceptional, battery life average, rather than just abysmal battery life, great CPU, so it's like very heavily weighted in certain directions. So for example, a very good CPU and battery, but the keyboard has a lot of flex, plastic build, and average screen with average touchpad. You need to pick what's most important in this category. So I picked out a few laptops that I thought looked reasonable. I'm not able to buy each and every one of these models, so I just highlighted the ones that I thought looked the best. So Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 5 AMD, and the IdeaPad 3 AMD 17-inch, so depending on if you want a 14 or 17-inch, both of them with low price points. Both of them, the Flex 5 14-inch has a 53U, so that's a 4-core. The 17-inch IdeaPad 3 has a 5625U, so that's a 6-core, so that's pretty impressive. Let's see. They both have 2 USB Gen 1 ports, HDMI 1.4, so that's a little bit of a downer. 4-in-1 card readers. Yep. And actually, the 14-inch has a Gen 2 port. The 17-inch does not. Both of them have 8 gigs of RAM. And where is that hard drive? The 14-inch has a better screen size, so it's a 16 by 10, I think the aspect ratio is, rather than 16 by 9. Or 10 by 16 by 9. So it just means the display is taller, so it's easier for like text if you're doing documents and stuff. It doesn't matter as much if you're doing like consuming content, videos. Anyways, let's go to the next one. Then the Yoga 6 AMD 13-inch. It's right towards the top of that $800 mark, and it's got a 6-core CPU, integrated 8 gigs of RAM, 512 storage, 13-inch IPS display. It's got Gen 2 port, 2 of them, and one Gen 1 HDMI 2.0. It's got another Gen 1, so they're all labeled right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's keep this moving. These are other ones that I liked from Lenovo. So the Flex 5 and the IdeaPad i3. Again, this is when I compiled all this information. I don't know what will be available at the time that you view this, but this has a 1235U. This has a Ryzen 5 55U. So this goes with this one goes with this, and the port selection 4-in-1, Gen 1. This one has a Gen 2, Gen 1, USB 2. I probably would not get this one. I do have a personal preference for 2-in-1 laptops, so depending on what you're looking for and what you need, various laptops will come to you. So this is an Asus laptop. Certain Asus laptops will not have pricing in later parts of this video, and they tend to be harder to find. So if you see a SKU that you like, you just have to search around for it. Unfortunately, I can't help much with that. Inspiron 14 2-in-1 and the Inspiron 14 5000 series. So I know some of these push the budget a little bit. So that has 16 gigs of RAM, 512. We'll keep things moving. I'm not a huge fan of HP, but these two seem to pop out pretty well in this one. All right, the next category. So this is 800-ish to 1200, 8 to 16 gigs of RAM, the largest SSD you can find, U and P series, AMD Ryzen, by and last Gen 11th gen Intel, and 5000 series is a good option here as they only came out last year, and they're likely discounted. At this price point, you tend to make fewer sacrifices, but you'll still need to pick and choose what is most important to you. For example, a gaming type laptop at this price will be plastic and have poor battery life and an average screen, or you can find a high-end type travel laptop with low specs, or an average home laptop with high specs. Is build quality or battery life most important, or do you need high-spec machine for coding and gaming, or do you need a blend of everything? So here, the Yoga 6 AMD 13-inch jumped out at me. It does have Gen 1, one Gen 1 port, two Gen 1 ports, 2 Gen 2s. The Yoga 7i 14-inch also jumped out at me. This one's an Intel. 16 gigs of RAM, 512, and 1235U. So this processor is nowhere near as good, but it's probably a more premium feeling laptop than this one is. So again, what is the most important aspect to you? This one also has Thunderbolt, so it's got better connectivity. The 7i 16-inch, I actually really like this one. I think I'm going to recommend this one to my parents. It's got a 1240p, so it's got, I think, 4 performance cores, 8 efficiency cores. It's got a 2K or 1440p. It's really higher than that, but class display. Touchscreen 2-in-1 capabilities. XE graphics, so it is not a gaming computer, but it checks off a lot of other boxes. 2 Thunderbolt ports, Gen 1, 2 Gen 1s, USB. So I really like this computer. Then we have the IdeaPad Gaming 3i, and actually they're both 3i's. It has an 11300H, the 12500H, and this one, the more expensive. Both of them are 1080p, full HD class displays, 8 gigs of RAM, and GTX 1650 over here, and RTX 3050 Ti on the more expensive one. So you can pick and choose what's most important to you at whatever your budget is. but these are good light gaming in this price category. And then one more gaming option right here. It's 3050 and 1137H. IdeaPad Pro, AMD. This one does have a discrete GPU, so this one's still in that gaming category. I didn't try to find a lot of Lenovo's, but that's what I ended up finding. Dell, the G15, Inspiron 14 2-in-1, and for a 2K display, I really liked this 12700H. It gives a beefy CPU, but Exia graphics. So if you need a powerful CPU, this is the one to get. If you don't need as much CPU horsepower, then you can get this one. Also, if you need 2-in-1 versus a regular clamshell laptop. Different HP option. Sorry, I jumped too far ahead. The NV13, NV15, Intel AMD options. And because I don't have pricing, I don't know how much any of these cost, but I'll hold these up for a couple seconds.